All right, so today we are going to start our brand new unit. It's on limits and derivatives. So today we're going to focus in on the first section here. It's 12.1, finding limits both numerically and graphically. So what we're going to be looking at is a limit, and a limit is a value that the function approaches as we focus on a particular x value. We can make our y-coordinate as close as we want it to be if we specify how close we want that x to be. So um, it's a value that the function approaches. So you might be getting a larger and larger x value, or you might get a smaller and smaller x value, or you get closer and closer to a certain value, and then you'll see that the y value is going to kind of approach a certain number, and that will end up being your limit. So we're going to go ahead and see about this. How this is read here, this is kind of the, we can look at this. Up here, it says the limit of f of x as x approaches a. This is how this up here is read up here. This lim is limit, and it's of f of x is equal to L, so that's our limit, whatever that value is, as x. Underneath it, it says x approaches a. So that's how read that up there. So let's go ahead and let's look at this. It says complete the table of values to 5 decimal places and use the table to estimate the value of the limit. So here they say x is approaching 1. So what I did here is from, as you get from the kind of, if you think about it on the number line here, I chose values here. If you think about 1 being here, I chose some values here from the left. I chose really close, 0.9, and then 0.99 and 0.999. And then I also chose on the right-hand side as well, a little bit above 1. So I chose like 1.1, and then 1.01, and then 1.001. So it's getting closer and closer to 1 on both sides there. So what should happen here as I move this way and as I move this way, both of those should approach the same value. So let's see if that happens. So we're going to go ahead and just plug those values into our calculator. And you got to be careful of how you do this. As you know, you're going to put parentheses over your numerator. So we have, I'm going to put in 0.9 minus 1. And parenthesis divided by, and 0.9 squared minus 1. 0.9 squared minus 1. And we said 5 decimal places, so 0.526. All right, we're going to do the same thing with 0.99, so plug that in there. So now I can take 0.99 minus 1. So now we're getting closer to 1, divided by 0.99 squared minus 1. And we'll see what that equals. 0.50251. 0.50251. And now let's try 0.999. So again, we're looking for what the value there is, what's approaching. Minus 1 divided by 0.999 squared minus 1. 0.50025. We're thinking about what's it getting closer to. It was 0.52632, then 0.50251. Now it's 0.50025. So as x is approaching 1 up here, that's what it says, We did 0.9, 0.99, 0.999. That's our x values. We plug those in there. As it gets closer and closer to 1, what's the limit they're approaching? What's f of x they're approaching? So let's go the other direction as well. Let's go a little bit bigger than 1. So we'll do 1.1, and let's plug that in here next. So 1.1 minus 1, and then divided by 1.1 squared minus 1. I get 0.47619. All right, let's try another. 1.01. So now 1.01 minus 1 divided by 1.01 squared minus 1. 0.49751. And we got 1.001. Let's try that one. 1.001 minus 1 divided by 1.001 squared minus 1. 0.49975. So as we're going, as we're approaching 1 there, what do you think the value is getting closer and closer to? So again, your x value is here, which is 1, and then up here we have 1, 2. So if we were to graph this out, you go up 0.9, 0.52, and it doesn't really help graphing because it gets so small, but you got to kind of look at your values, 0.52, 0.50, 0.500. And then you could even, if it didn't help, you could even go another one and try 4 of them. And maybe try another one here if you're not seeing it. But hopefully you're seeing this is getting closer and closer to 0.5 or 1/2. So that ends up being our limit there. So let's try another one. 8. What's the limit of square root of x minus 3 all over x minus 9 as t approaches 9? So now look at the values I picked. 8.9, 8.99, 8.999. Again, I could pick another one if I wanted. 9999, getting closer and closer to 9. And then go bigger than 9. So I usually go like 9.1, 9.01, 9.001. And then again, if you needed another one, you could do that. Closer and closer to 9. So let's try the ones we have there and let's plug them in there. So doing the same thing again, we're going to plug in our values. So I got to do square root 8.9, and I got to hit the right key to stop it, the right arrow there to stop it from putting the square root above that. And then we've got minus 3, and then divided there by 8.9 minus 9. Notice I got parentheses around my numerators and parentheses around my denominator. So I'm getting 0.16713. Try another one. 8.9. So parentheses. All right. So So we've got square root here again of 8.99 minus 3 divided by 8.99 minus 9. Point 16671. So now let's do one more time. Square root 8.999, right arrow, minus 3, end parenthesis, divided by parenthesis, 8.999, and minus 9 equals 1, or 0.136 and a 7. Right? And then let's try 9.1. You might have already figured it out. Parentheses, square root, 9.1. Stop it from doing the square root by hitting the right arrow, minus 3, divided by parenthesis, 9.1, minus 9, enter. 0.16621. Right, and then we got 9.01, parenthesis, square root, 9.01, minus 3, divided by parenthesis, did not go to 9.01, did I? Let's go back here. I'm going to do insert, if I can find it. Second, insert, 0, 1, there we go. 9.01 minus 9. 0.16662. So this time we've got 3 sixes. And let's try the last one here. Parenthesis, square root, 9.001, arrow, minus 3, divided by, parenthesis, 9.001, minus 9, end parenthesis, equals 0.16666. So this time we got 4 sixes. So as you're looking at this, hopefully you can see definitely approaching 0.16, repeating there. Wanted to know what the fraction there is, it'd be 1/6. Either way. So that's substituting values in there to start seeing limits. As you can kind of see here, you could have sort of a left-handed limit here, because as we approach 9 here, we chose values here that we're getting. If I put 9 here, 8.9 is over here on the left-hand side, and so is 8.99, and so is 8.999. But when I also chose them over here on the right-hand side, I chose like 9.1, 9.01, and 9.001. That's what we're going to be looking at here next on the next video.